We are in Castlemaine today, where clearly a branch has broken off this poplar and the beehive is exposed. Now, the hum of the bees is a little bit louder than normal. I suspect the queen may have been lost in this collapse. Oh, let's just drop down here. More of the hive down here, mostly abandoned, and then more of the hive up there, and that's mostly abandoned. The bees have cleaned out the resources both from this hive and robber bees to make things a little bit safer to work. I'll probably have to just cut this branch there, but we'll go from there. Okay, on closer inspection, looks like Queenie's in here on this piece. Okay, we'll have to do it in a couple of steps. So step one was to cut the branch so that it became safe to work around it. I didn't want to risk it falling on me, particularly when I'm down there. So I made some strategic cuts and made it fall. So now it's safe to work. We'll begin on the section up here, which the bees are saying they don't have a queen. Let's see if they are telling the truth. We've pulled the comb out. Okay. The bees are fanning into there, but the sound is still like there's no queen in here or up this section. Later I'll pump some smoke in there and see what emerges. But anyway, for the moment I've piled the comb in here. It's not really usable in its current format for framing up, but we'll see what we get out of the section down there and see what we can frame up down there. And otherwise I'll be putting in drawn frames when they get to quarantine, because at the moment it's not in a great state. We've clearly cut the hive piece out of that branch down there. Got a bit of comb to pick up, and we brought it up here. Queen's in here. We just got to find her. So the piece I've just cut out of here confirms the queen was in the bottom section. I do have to find her, but we've got fresh eggs and babies in this section. So yeah, the bees up here were not lying. Queen was in the bottom section. From all that comb, we were able to get two sort of usable frames that we'll have to get traded out reasonably quickly come spring, and then the rest is all just undrawn foundation frames. We've still got to get the queen out. She is in there, but I just don't want to risk harming her by going too aggressively trying to get to her. So it's just going to be a slow process, this little bit of getting the queen. Once we get her, it's easy. And then we'll sort these ones out up there. I lit the smoker and started smoking, pushed all the bees up to the top, and there's Queenie. Top right, top left, working her way down the side. So we have the queen. Now we drop her in between the two frames we've cut out and let all the other bees work their way to her. There we go, we got fanning at the entrance, and the bees are slowly leaving this log to go in to join their queen. We still have all these bees up there. I smoked them a little bit, but this is the perfect example of what happens if a beehive is moved more than 1.5 meters or so, and where effectively half the hive was moved down there and half hive stayed up here. This half of the hive had no viable brood or honey, but the bees hadn't orientated to down there, so they just stay here. They'd stay here and die. I will come back tonight with the bee vacuum and vacuum them into a hive box and join them back up with this hive. But yeah, when moving hives, you move them around 1 metre or over 2 to 5 kilometres, so the bees don't come back to where they were. I went with a slight change of plans. I squished the hive up there, wedged the other half of the hive that was on the ground in there, and aiming now for the bees to start all wandering in themselves. So I'll still bring the bee back tonight, but I'm hoping the bees sort themselves out. Fingers crossed. I've come back here well after dark. No bees have settled back here, which is absolutely awesome. The bees that were down here returned to the old hive, so that's fantastic. When we go up here to where we put the hive box, the bees have left the external comb and the external places, and they've worked their way into the box. So yay. I'll just clean up the waste comb, or the old comb that's not in the hive, and then get this down. Yay! A teeny tiny number of bees didn't go back into the hive from this piece, so I'm, rather than get the bee vac set up and all that for just them, I'm going to take this whole piece and put it in front of the hive tomorrow or tonight. So box is sealed up for the time being, and I've got to admit, putting the box up here did work better than I expected. All the bees that were up here have gone into the box, so that's actually a fantastic result. Other than those bees that were on that old section of hive, the bees reorientated themselves. Oh no, one missed the boat. There always has to be one, doesn't there? I'll move that bee to the log. Anyway, we'll get them to quarantine and put a feeder box on top of them. We're at the quarantine apiary. We've got some bees running around this log still, which is good. They'll work their way in there tomorrow. We've put a feeder lid on top. Queen is still in the queen clip in the box, but we'll release her tomorrow afternoon. So for now, that's all we can do.